Adaptability in the beauty industry, right now on the Leadership Voice. Welcome to the Leadership Voice. I'm your host, Jay Barbuto. Today's show is about adaptability in the beauty industry. Joining us will be Lynne Nguyen, co-owner and vice president of Advanced Beauty College. Lynne grew up in the beauty industry and has been licensed for over 25 years. She's a second-generation owner, along with her brother, taking over the family business in 1999. Please welcome Lynne Nguyen.
Thank you so much, Jay. I'm so happy to be here and I'm honored to be your first guest.
Lynne, it's great to have you on the show today, and we can, a lot of folks in our audience will really enjoy learning from you and seeing how Advanced Beauty College has found ways to pivot and adapt and stay agile during these difficult times. Maybe we could start, Lynne, if we could just share what has Advanced Beauty College done to succeed in the industry?
We've been in business, again, like you mentioned, we were second generation. And so over these 30 plus years, what we've come down to is really our motto is these three pillars that we have is to inspire, educate, and to give back. And it really all focuses around that when we do make sure that our students, we have students that are immigrants that just came to America, to other students who have a passion for the beauty industry. We really want to make sure that we can continue to inspire them and make sure that they're successful in what we do. And then, of course, education, that's the pillar of what we do. We want to make sure that the staff that we have, that they love what they do. And it's important to us to make sure, again, a lot of our instructors, they're bilingual. They help a lot of the students to acclimate to the country, learn the culture, and really feed on the students that have this as a passion to make sure that they can grow their passion. And then our portion that we do in giving back is we really like to be involved in the community. It's important for us to make sure that everyone has a different way of how they can contribute to the community and give back. But in our beauty industry, what we found was we can make people feel good about themselves, feel beautiful. I'm sure during this pandemic, everyone had a little bit of a feeling of what it felt like to be in our shoes, because I can't tell you how many people were reaching out to me wanting to learn how to do haircuts, get their nails done, and do different things at home. And so their mom and dad and brothers and sisters were all kind of cutting their hair. But the giving back part is so great that we have a lot of our students that where we work with different places like the homeless community where we're cutting their hair. We have done huge drives where we've done nails and done hair services. And you really do, by what we do in our trade, help to make people feel better. And so we love giving back in so many different ways. And we can go more into like what we've done during this pandemic as well. But it's amazing how with our trade and just with anything, really, you're able to do that part.
And so really much of your success, much of what has kept Advanced Beauty College focused has been the inspire, educate. And so really, Lynne, it sounds like the inspire, educate, and give back, kind of those three pillars has really kept things focused for your company.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice to be able to kind of come back to what we know that we are living by, and everyone should go by as well. So our job every day is to inspire students, to educate them, and we want to figure out how we can give back in what we do.
Oh, that's terrific. So how has the pandemic changed things for Advanced Beauty College?
Honestly, it's changed it drastically. In the history of our beauty industry in California, we have never had anything like this happen. We have never been able to offer online distance education. So this is the very first time that our industry had to make huge pivots in order to make sure that we can educate our students. So for the first time ever, there was a lot of rules being made, a lot of changes being made as far as our accreditation. And they allowed for our students to be able to take the courses that we were teaching online. And for us, it was, a lot of adaptability that we had to have right at that moment. So we were able to pivot and move all of our education online, we actually offered it both in Vietnamese and in English. So we had to make sure that we can translate everything, have all of our instructors ready to teach in both languages, and just making sure that we can provide the education that we needed, because it's a very hands-on type of industry, as you well know. So we had to make sure that they had their doll heads available, people that they were able to practice on while they were at home. So it was a huge pivot, but it was definitely something that we had some struggle with, but we made sure that we can get through, and we did training, did whatever we could. But it was long hours in the beginning, and just trying to figure out with everybody. We would actually have meetings where we would sit there and say, okay, everybody, what are our ideas on what we can do in this time? No idea is a bad idea. Let's throw it all out on the table and let's figure out what we need to do, and then work on it and see how we can make this change during this time.
And for those that don't know this, and I think most people do, the state had regulations here that they imposed. For example, you weren't allowed to offer services.
Right. We were not allowed to offer services. So we had a complete shutdown for a few weeks. And for education and services, we had to figure out what that looked like. But for services, for the public, our industry had a huge roller coaster ride. We went from closing down, not being able to open at all with any services. And then it went to, there were talks with Governor Newsom how this pandemic started in a nail salon, which was hugely affecting our ability to open in our industry. And then to being able to open for just a couple of weeks and then close down again. So honestly, it's been a huge roller coaster ride for our industry. There were so many people advocating and wanting to be able to get the businesses open, because so many businesses were going under because they couldn't afford to pay the rent and continue to not be open. So that was something that we got involved with, because during the time that we closed, we started a group called Nailing It, where we started being able to offer some of the PPP, all the masks and things like that we had in our nail industry, and donating it to all the frontline workers. And because of that, kind of getting started, when the news came out from Governor Newsom regarding the nail industry, we became a voice for the nail industry. We do have the largest manicuring program in the nation, so a lot of people look to us for that. And in our community, there's so many people that rely on our nail industry, this business. So we were able to kind of step up and be able to help out in representing and advocating for it.
It sounds like you've had to make a lot of changes, and you had to rethink a lot of what it means to exist at Advanced Beauty College.
Yeah, we did. It completely changed because we were no longer in school. And so we had to figure out, what does that look like now for us? And so it was interesting in how we can be creative, and we were able to change it up where how do we make it fun and exciting for these students online? And so that was a challenge. And now that we're back, even doing a hybrid type of program, it's still something that's ever changing, but it actually grew opportunity as well. There's many students who in the past couldn't attend beauty school, even though they've always wanted to. And there's some people that lost their jobs during this pandemic. Some people that had to stay home now because they had to watch over their children who are now doing homeschooling. And this actually offered them the opportunity to be able to do classes online and not have to come into classes while earning their way through beauty school and getting their certificates so that they can be licensed in this industry. So there was things that, of course, changes that had to be made, but there were definitely opportunities that represented it himself.
Wow. So given all of these changes and the pivoting that Advanced Beauty College had to make to go from entirely face-to-face beauty college, where instruction was always face-to-face, services were always face-to-face and indoors, having to shift to entirely online with no services provided, then entirely online with some services, but only outside, and then finally started becoming what it is today, which is kind of a combination of online education, face-to-face education, and now some services being provided. How have, given all of these changes, Lynn, all of this pivoting that your organization, that your company has had to make, your beauty college has had to make, how is ABC even better moving forward in the new normal?
What's neat about this time is that we're able to actually reach out to a lot of different learners. So there's some students that learn better hands-on in front of the teacher, like face-to-face. And we understand that. So there's that option where they can come into the school. And then there's some of the students that do really well with technology. They can be online, understand and learn and know how to be able to get the most of these classes while they're online. So I love it that we're able to touch on all of the different types of learners. So they're able to do that. We also had this great opportunity where, because we are able to teach online and on campus, there's certain teachers that just have that skill set where they're best at teaching face-to-face. They might not be technology savvy, but they're amazing face-to-face. And then we have these opportunities where, because we're also teaching online, we can get educators from all over the world, essentially, the best of the best at what they do, and they can live anywhere from a different state. We have a lot of great specialty instructors now that they can be at home with their children and then come on certain times and do these lectures that are absolutely amazing. And so we love that, because we then get back to the inspiring our students, teaching the teachers, teaching really what they love, because it's like, now you can choose what areas that you want to teach, because we can have different teachers be able to teach, and then we can do it in Vietnamese and in English. But it's amazing that we're able to use the technology to be able to gear towards the students that learn well on that, and then the teachers that can teach well with that. And then for the students that don't learn as well, they can be in school, and then the teachers can work with them that way. So it's really opened up huge opportunities for us. And in this past month, we've actually had a ton of enrollment from students who have taken advantage of that opportunity and have come in and enrolled more, and say that they've always wanted to do this, but they never had the opportunity, they never had the time. So this was their chance. And so we love that right now, where we can make the changes, and we can still open it up more to students, where they're able to take advantage of this education and make it even better.
You know, Lynn, hearing you talk about Advanced Beauty College with such optimism and such forward thinking, it reminds us all that oftentimes during these moments, we think about what we've lost. We think about what we can't do anymore. And here you're sharing all these stories and all of these moments of opportunity. So it's really exciting to hear you describe your business in the new normal in such an optimistic and positive way.
Yeah, I think that if you make the changes needed, and then you adapt to what needs to be, instead of honestly, there's a lot of schools and a lot of businesses that said, you know what, we can't do it at this time. We're just going to go ahead and like close down and then figure it out. But I don't think that wasn't ever a question with our group. We said, you know what do we need to do to continue, and how is it that we're going to make the changes, but also make it great? So it took the team of all of us, and then honestly having people that were great at IT, because some of us weren't great at the education, that we can pivot online. How do we then educate the students and make the changes? There were so many different components, and we had honestly like an amazing team to work with, where we just threw everything out on the table, and it's like literally working outside in our parking lot with tents and things like that. And so just figuring out what we needed to do. It was never a question for us on how we weren't going to do it. And honestly, there's the opportunities as well. There's, again, so many people that are losing their jobs, but they're so talented, and what they can do within this industry was going to be great. So we actually got to bring on some amazing talent during this time as well. And so we're happy to be able to grow our team with amazing people that we love to work with, and talented people as well. So it is an opportunity as well. You could see it any way.
So, Lynn, there are lots of organizations, lots of industries that are impacted by these troubling and challenging times. What advice would you give to any business that is ever faced with a crisis such as the one that we've just well, we're still in it, but such as the one that we've just experienced?
Yeah, I think for any business, kind of look at what your opportunities might be. You might, this crisis that happened, this thing that we did not know would come about, figure out how it can be an opportunity. Change up what you need to do in order to figure out what it is for you to succeed. During this time that we completely closed down our schools and we weren't taking the students back just yet, we actually changed it to be able to help the community. I talked a little bit about how we got a group together called Nailing It, where my brother kind of headed that out. And we became home base for all of the donations that were being taken in, because we have a huge facility. So both of our facilities, we were able to say, okay, if you need the place, then we can take in all the gloves, all the masks, all the PPP, like all of the stuff that they need. And it was huge. It was, we had so many things, and we were able to use our facility to be able to be part of that giving back. And so just roll with the punches, make the changes and adapt as you need. And honestly, treat it as an opportunity, because like we did right now, we're back to our pre-enrollment status where we're taking in as many students, in some instances, probably even more. It was slow for months, don't get me wrong, but now we're at that point because we're able to make those changes where we're higher than we were. So there's definitely opportunities out there if you look and talk to different people. During this time, we went on as many Zoom calls and learned from so many different people. We're part of AACS, an American Association for Cosmetology Schools. So within our industry, we were getting very involved. All of us had to get on different learning webinars and different things that they had. So I know with the Center for Leadership, you guys came out with some amazing things. We passed it around to all of our staff, made sure that we read up on it, on how to deal during this time of crisis. So I really encourage all businesses to not just sit back and be by yourself and feel alone and not see that there is opportunity. When you go out there and you learn more and more from all the different areas, it's being offered, and it's being offered a lot of times for free. So it's a great opportunity to be able to put yourself out there and be able to learn more and more when you do have some downtime. So
that's great. And, being able to adapt and being able to innovate, like you've said, it's going to help any business become even stronger after the crisis passes. Lynn, we have a couple of questions from our audience. So could you stick around and maybe answer a couple of questions?
Absolutely.
Terrific. So our first question comes from Cassie Arroyo in Fullerton, California. Cassie asks, during the early stages of the pandemic, there was a sense of hopelessness amongst business owners and their employees. How do you maintain positivity in such times?
I think with our group, it's the people that you're surrounded by, right? So all of the people in our group, we never thought for a minute that we're going to take this going down. So we all came together and thought, okay, let's divvy this up. Like, how does this look? Is one person's going to look into the clients? What do we need to do? The other person into the education. How can we help with that? The other person into advocating for our industry, and the other for, helping the community and giving back. So we were all so busy with making sure to figure out how this is going to work and how we're going to change that we really didn't have, honestly, in the beginning, we had no time to just sit and sulk, because we just need to figure out what we needed to do. And it was never a question of, okay, we're down. We had so many people relying on us that we needed to figure out what we're going to do to help everybody.
Terrific. So our second question comes from Randall in Brea, California. Randall asks, how do you see the beauty industry continue to adapt in the future?
How the beauty industry is going to adapt is of course, there's huge precautions right now in making sure that everyone's safe. So that's the number one thing I think that our beauty industry is trying to put out there and make sure that we can offer services and we can do it safely. So that's one of the most important things that all of these, that our beauty industry is trying to convey and trying to make sure that we're trained up on. But also outside of that, again, things are going to change as well. If there's things that can happen virtually, then they will. So again, like the educational part, some of the continuing educations that a lot of these people are learning. So if you wanted to learn an additional thing on top of what you've already got license for, eyelash extensions are popular. The microblading is popular. There's a lot of classes that you can now do virtually and online to improve your skills. So it's amazing. And again, nowadays you can learn from anywhere and from the best teachers. So I feel like everyone's education, if they're able to reach out and look for these different opportunities, it can actually grow and enhance their education and not limit it to what's in the local area. So you can learn from the best of the best, and you have to adapt and make sure that you have the confidence of the consumers that you're doing it the right way by making sure, again, the health and safety of the consumer is the top priority.
Terrific. So we have one final question, and our third question comes from Lois in Los Alamitos, California. Lois asks, in regards to the pandemic and adapting to changes quickly, what was the best decision you made, Lynne, that helped the school continue to thrive?
So during the pandemic, I think the best decision that we made was to make sure that we continue and then move everything online. Being online was a game changer for not only our school, but our industry, and having that opportunity. So making sure that we can move it online. I mean, they changed it from going from 50% up to 75% where they can do it online. And so we made those changes. We adapted quickly to all of the rules that came out and made sure that we could offer that in a great way. But also then when we were able to come back and open up our schools, we made sure that every moment that the students have in our schools count, because the time that they have for hands-on is limited now. So we really wanted to make sure that we make those changes where we still stand by our pillars, which is to inspire, educate, and give back. But how do we do that now, both virtually and in person?
Oh, that's terrific. Lynne, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show with us today and to talk to us about agility and staying adaptable here in the beauty industry. It's been great to spend this time with you.
Likewise. Thank you so much, Shay, for having me on the show, and I appreciate it and love to be here.
Terrific. Well, I think that's all the time we have for today's show. Today, we talked about adaptability in the beauty industry. Join us each episode of the Leadership Voice. We bring you great, relevant, important topics that can guide you in your leadership journey. I'm Jay Barbuto, and on behalf of the Center for Leadership, we'll see you next time right here on the Leadership Voice.